This is the truth almost nobody dares to face. You are not a single you trapped in a destiny already written. In reality, you exist within a gigantic field of creation where, with every choice, your consciousness alters time and space and opens up new parallel reality. What I'm going to show you in this video, based on the teachings of Seth, channeled by Jane Roberts, will turn your perception of reality completely upside down. Because from today onward, you will understand how to activate your best version, how to retrieve talents from parallel realities, and how to finally stop living confined to a single, limited script. Now, the question isn't whether you can change everything. The question is, in which version of yourself will you choose to live? Get ready, because what you're about to learn will transform the way you make decisions. Imagine for a moment that your life is not a single straight road, but an infinite garden of paths that open with every step. This is how Seth describes consciousness, a vast field of living probabilities, where each thought, emotion, and decision you make plants seeds in different directions. While your linear brain believes there is only one story unfolding, your higher self, the broader, wiser part of you, simultaneously experiences all the possibilities sprouting from this vibrant tangle of choices. When you decide, for example, to change jobs, to accept or decline an invitation, or even to say yes or no to a simple coffee with a friend, each of those choices activates a distinct line of reality. It's like watching hundreds of movies playing at once, each with small or large variations in the plot. In some versions, you live in a different city. In others, you may never have met the people who are central to your life today. And the curious thing is that none of these realities cancels out the others. They all exist in full activity. Now, what many people ignore, and here lies the hidden power, is that these lines aren't fixed. They intertwine and interact. And at times, you even feel their echoes, that sudden déjà vu, that inexplicable intuition, or that what if that circles in your mind. Seth teaches that these sensations aren't mere daydreams. They are faint whispers from your other selves, trying to reach your attention through the veil of ordinary perception. Think how many times you've said, "If I had done things differently, I'd be someone else today." And the truth is, yes, you would be. But that other person isn't lost. They exist, vibrating on a frequency parallel to yours. Meanwhile, your higher self conducts all these versions like a maestro, leading an orchestra of possibilities, where each instrument plays a different melody, yet together they create the grand symphony of your soul. And it's here that the journey takes on even more fascinating contours. If multiple versions of you are acting at this very moment, the next step is to understand who these other yous are, and how each contributes to your greater growth. Within you exists what Seth calls the central self, the version you recognize now, with your name, your story, your dilemmas, and your dreams. But surrounding that self you see in the mirror are countless other selves. They are the so-called probable selves. They are neither fiction nor fantasy. They are as real as this you listening to these words now. Each of those selves made different choices at crucial moments, and thus walks parallel existence, exploring possibilities your current consciousness has not directly experienced. Imagine this example. At one point in your life, you almost moved to another country. In this reality, you stayed. But there exists a probable self who crossed the ocean and today lives a completely different story. And it doesn't stop there. Small choices, like that phone call you didn't make, the course you didn't start, the conversation you avoided, also opened branches. They are like thousands of tiny forks in the great river of your soul, each creating new shores of experience. Now, here is the point few understand. These selves do not compete. They collaborate. They are all part of the same higher consciousness, your higher self, which uses these diverse experiences to expand the soul's overall wisdom. It's as if each version of you is gathering data, living different emotional nuances, learning unique lessons that, in some mysterious way, feed back into your spiritual core. At times, you might even feel these selves touching you subtly. That sudden urge to learn something entirely new, a talent that appears out of nowhere, an inexplicable ease with a skill. Often, these aptitudes didn't arise from zero. They are vibrational transfers from parallel realities where those skills were honed. Seth says that communication among probable selves happens all the time, even if your rational ego insists on ignoring the signs. And if this communication is constant, an even more powerful question emerges. What is the real role of your daily choices, and how do they function as portals connecting you, at every moment, to new branches of yourself? At every instant, life places us at crossroads, some grand, others so small, they seem insignificant. But here is Seth's secret. No choice is irrelevant. Every decision, no matter how minor it seems, functions as an energetic portal. It's as if you stand before several invisible doors and, by choosing one, activate a new line of reality. The fascinating part is that all the other doors remain open, only traversed by parallel versions of yourself. Consider, for instance, the day you almost gave up on a project but decided to keep going. There is a version of you who did give up and is experiencing the consequences of that choice. Meanwhile, the you who persisted is now reaping the rewards of that courage. That is how the probabilistic field works. There is no single script for your life. Everything is dynamic, fluid, and co-created in real time based on your conscious or automatic choices. Now, the idea of losing a better version by choosing one path can generate anxiety in many people. Yet here, Seth delivers a liberating key. There is no real loss. Each probability line is merely a different expression of your soul seeking specific experience. Even the decisions that seem wrong are opportunities for learning and expansion. After all, the goal isn't to be right all the time, but to fully live each scenario. Interestingly, when some people understand this, they develop greater ease in decision-making. Instead of freezing in fear of error, they choose with more presence and authenticity. Want a practical example? In your next difficult decision, ask yourself, what aligns me with my joy right now? That simple question can already tune your vibration to the line most harmonious with your essential self. And it is precisely this vibrational alignment that begins to reveal an even more curious phenomenon: how your other versions remain actively present in your consciousness and sometimes interact with you in surprising ways. Few notice, but your other versions are, in a sense, in constant communication with you, not through audible words but through sudden intuitions, vivid dreams, intriguing déjà vu, or those synchronicities so absurd they give you butterflies. According to Seth, these signs are not coincidence. They are tiny threads connecting your parallel realities, allowing learnings and information to flow among the multiple versions of your being. How many times have you woken with a clear sensation that you lived something while sleeping, or felt a brilliant idea spring up suddenly, as if whispered by a part of you that knows more than your conscious mind can reach? It is in these cracks of linear perception that the parallel selves cross into your experiences and enrich your current line. They are not distant. They are merely vibrating at frequencies your habitual mind has not been trained to fully capture. Now, if you wish to perceive these exchanges with greater clarity, there are simple, powerful practices. One is to keep a dream journal. Writing down, even fragmentary, dreams upon waking allows your conscious mind to begin dialoguing with subtler layers of consciousness. Another is contemplative meditation, not to empty the mind but to observe it, and permit information from other lines to flow without resistance. Over time, you will notice patterns repeating, a recurring symbol, a scene that returns in your dreams, a person who always appears, a synchronicity so striking it confirms something you never dared believe. These are your probable selves waving, as if saying, "Hey, we're all here, living together, learning together." And the most beautiful part is that your higher self, the maestro of your multidimensional existence, coordinates this symphony with a loving precision that transcends any human logic. But there is still a silent obstacle preventing many from diving fully into this expanded experience. The paralyzing fear of making wrong choices. If there is a weight many carry in their chest, it is the fear of error, that anguished feeling that one single decision can ruin everything, as if life were a delicate balance, where any misstep leads to tragedy. Yet Seth, with disarming wisdom, shows us that this fear arises from a great misunderstanding, believing there is only one right chance. In the probabilistic reality of consciousness, there is no error in the absolute sense. There are only distinct experiences that enrich the totality of your being. Think about how many times you froze trying to choose between paths, afraid of selecting the wrong one. Now imagine if you could see that, regardless of the choice, your soul will continue learning, living, and expanding. That decision to change careers, to end or maintain a relationship, to pursue or abandon a project, all generate valid lines of experience. There is no wasted time. There is only an expansion of your existential repertoire. This understanding is not permission to act irresponsibly, of course. It is not about living without reflection, but about relieving the emotional burden of trying to get it right every time. Error, as we call it, is merely the narrow lens the linear mind uses to evaluate events that are actually different nuances of learning. Seth tells us the soul isn't interested in amassing correct choices, but in the depth of experience. When you grasp this, the weight of guilt begins to dissolve, self-pressure decreases, and a new attitude toward life emerges, that of someone who chooses with courage and lightness. A good exercise is this. The next time you feel afraid to decide, ask yourself, what can I learn, regardless of the outcome? That question alone starts to neutralize the prison of perfectionism, allowing you to move forward without carrying the burden of a failure that doesn't truly exist. And when you walk with that lightness, something extraordinary happens. Your vibration changes, and you begin to access the lines of reality that resonate with this new frequency. And it is precisely at this point that the secret of vibrational alignment with your most potent versions comes into play. Here we reach a point that, to many, sounds almost like magic, but which, in Seth's view, is pure vibrational science. Alignment with your most powerful version does not happen by chance, but is generated by your internal state here and now. It doesn't matter what you've lived or what could have been. What matters is the frequency you emit at this very moment. Every thought, every emotion, every belief functions like a code tuning you to a specific reality among thousands available. If you vibrate in fear, in doubt, in scarcity, you automatically connect with probabilistic lines that reinforce those states. On the other hand, when you cultivate trust, gratitude, enthusiasm, and presence, you begin to attract experience, people, and opportunities aligned with that new frequency. It's not about external control, it's about internal mastery. Life doesn't respond to what you superficially desire, but to what you deeply vibrate. But how, in practice, do you tune to this higher frequency? A first step is radical observation of your own thoughts and emotions throughout the day. Upon noticing negative automatic patterns, challenge them immediately. A helpful exercise is to keep an alignment journal, where you daily note 3 situations that sparked positive emotions and 3 that caused discomfort. Over time, you map where your vibrational blocks lie. Additionally, practices like active visualization, where you not only imagine but physically feel the emotions of the desired reality, are extremely powerful. Don't visualize as one who asks, but as one who already thanks for having received, as if you were already experiencing. And of course, caring for the physical body is fundamental, since it is the instrument through which your consciousness vibrates. Nutrition, sleep, and conscious movement enhance your ability to sustain higher vibrational states. And the more you stabilize in that new frequency, the more doors begin to open, as if the universe itself, with all its multiple versions of you, conspires to guide you to your grandest self. And it is precisely at this point that you start to grasp the true magnitude of being a multidimensional consciousness. Few stop to reflect on the real greatness of their own existence. We are not merely beings confined to a body, to an address, to a linear timeline. Seth invites us to see the true legacy of the human soul. We are multidimensional consciousness, spread across countless versions of ourselves, simultaneously learning, experiencing, and evolving in realities that coexist in a vibrant ocean of possibilities. There isn't just one story being told. There is an infinite tapestry of stories being lived by you right now. Consider all the versions of you living radically different experiences today. Perhaps one has written a book, another lives in a different country, another chose an artistic calling, while yet another dove into a deep spiritual path. Those possibilities aren't fantasy. They are valid realities enriching the whole of who you are. With every small expansion of consciousness, you touch those other parts of yourself. It's as if your soul is harvesting the fruits of all these parallel experiences, even if you're not fully aware of them in your current life. That's why sometimes you feel natural talents, inexplicable fears, or even vivid dreams that seem to belong to another life. These are echoes of that vast network of probable selves, all contributing to the evolution of your higher self. With every breath, you're not just living, you're co-creating. When this understanding is truly absorbed, it releases a profound reverence for existence. You realize you aren't stuck in a fixed destiny, but navigating a dynamic field of constant creation. Your thoughts, emotions, and intentions become powerful tools, shaping your path within that vast ocean of reality. And the most beautiful part is realizing that with every choice, you don't just create your future, you literally birth new universes of yourself. Now, if every decision has the power to give life to new universes, an inevitable question arises. What would happen if you began to choose with full consciousness and confidence in your creative power?